Time for some 5-star predictions. Alright guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Zach with Zacks Books. First and foremost, firstly, I want to say I have got a new heater, so I'm going to try and talk over it. That is what you're hearing in the background. Secondly, welcome to the video. In this video, I'm going to be doing 5-star predictions for 2023. I'm going to need to get used to saying 23 and not 22. I'm not including new releases, so like the announced Holly book by Stephen King won't be in here, the Grady Hendrix book, like none of that's going to be in this list. Basically, I got 6 of them, I think it is. I've got 6 books. I'm going to hopefully be right with this prediction. I might try and I don't know if I did one last year for 2022, and if I did, then maybe I need to readdress it and see how many of them are correct. This video should be going up after Christmas, before New Year's. I don't know if I'm going to have another one before New Year's. If I don't, Happy New Year. Welcome to 2023, whatever. We'll try and have these 6 listed down below. Don't forget to check out the podcast, the Bookstagram, Danielle's channel, and all that fun stuff. And don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and let's get into the books. Alright, first up is Swan Song by Robert McCammon. So this is a book that has been on a couple of TBRs. It is on the thicker side, and it is another book that is about like a post-apocalyptic world, and like it's honestly been like the thing I've been reading lately, because I did Wanderers. I'm reading The Fireman by Joe Hill right now, which is a pretty damn good book. 1122, like at some point there's like a post-apocalyptic world.
Well, a lot of these books are described to be similar to The Stand.
Yes, and now Swan Song is on my TBR. So this is a book that it's compared to The Stand, just like Wanderers was. The Fireman, I'm getting some really strong kind of vibes like that. The thing I'm liking about Fireman, though, which I'll say this in the video I have with the recent reads, is we're only really following one person. It's not like, oh yeah, now we're following this dude that lives in Texas, or we have this guy all the way out in Bumble F nowhere. So like, I'm liking that. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about Swan Song. So this is a beefy book. I really want a hardcover edition of this, but it is impossible to find. And basically, I think we're following a couple of different people. Josh, who's a pro wrestler, who we're following. Then there's Swan, who's a young girl who has special powers. So I'm gonna guess that's why it's Swan Song. And she's traveling with Josh, and I think it's like the good versus evil kind of situation, just like how it is in Wanderers, The Stand, The Fireman. Like literally all these books kind of have the same type of premise, and they have been working well for me. So Swan Song only made sense for me to read after I read Wanderers and all these other books. I do have the intent to reread The Stand this year, or well, for 2023, depending on when you watch this video. Times are confusing. But I do want to get to this. I'm actually going to be starting this after The Fireman, so I might actually finish this before even this video might even get posted, honestly. That or I'll be partway through it. But it's a book I definitely want to read. It's been a couple TBRs, and finally this year I've decided I just am going to read it. So this would be the first Robert McCammon book I think I've read. I don't think I've read anything else by him. There you have Swan Song by Robert McCammon. Alright, next up is Dead of Winter by Keelan Patrick Burke. There's not much to say. It's Keelan Patrick Burke. It's a short story. It's about winter. It's horror. There's not much else I really say about this book. I do like the cover. I think it looks really cool with like the woods making like a skull shape. I don't remember the last Keelan I read actually. Kin? I don't think I read one after that. But yeah, it's a very cool sounding book. It's really thin. Keelan Patrick Burke is the short story god for me, so I'm sure this is going to work very fine and very well. Yeah, I mentioned something about Santa Claus, and so I'm like, that sounds really intriguing now. So, yeah. Keelan Patrick Burke, I like going into his with not a whole lot of knowledge, just because it is just something I like doing with him. It's a short story to begin with, so I don't want like a lot of stuff ruined for me. So, yeah, I'm just going to end it on that. There you have Dead of Winter by Keelan Patrick Burke. Alright, next up is another one that I was planning to read for October this past year, and I didn't. And that is American Psycho by Bret Easton Ellis. And this is, I think, no, it's not a sequel that's coming out, but he's got another book. Bret Easton Ellis has got another book coming out this year. This is about a gentleman named Patrick Bateman, who is I think he's a man on Wall Street. Yeah, he's a day-by-day broker on Wall Street, and by night he's like this, like, psycho, like, murdering, like, dude. Like, he's, like, really, really odd. The movie of this I have not fully seen, but it's got Christian Bale, I think, is the guy who plays Patrick Bateman, and he does a really, like, terrific job. I've heard the book is a lot weirder than the movie is. It has a lot more questions than answers, and it's one of those, like, really, really weird books. I really want to get to this year because I just really want to read it. Not much else to really say about this. It's a really sought-after book, in my opinion, that I need to read that's a classic, and I haven't read it yet. I really want to get to it. I really think it is going to be 5 stars just because it's a really well-known book, and I've heard really good things about it, so I hope so. So there you have American Psycho by Bret Easton Ellis. Alright, at this point I really could put any Darcy Coates book in this type of list, honestly, but I'm going to go with not Gallows Hill, which probably would be one, but I'm going to go with From Below by Darcy Coates. So I'm just going to read the little blurb on the back. Just like with Keelan Patrick Burke and a lot of the other, like, favorite authors I have, I like going into these with vagueness because I just want the story as it comes. I don't want to know really a whole lot going into it. No light, no air, no escape. Hundreds of feet beneath the ocean surface, a graveyard waits because once they're trapped beneath the ocean's waves, there's no going back. What is not entertaining about that? I've wanted to read Parasite by her for the longest time. There's no audiobook. I know I could just free read it. I just am not the best with that, so I have been avoiding it. But From Below has one. It's ocean. The only other underwater-ish type horror book I've read is The Deep by Nick Cutter, I think. And that one was like a 3-star. It wasn't really their best, but whatever. But anything Darcy writes, I usually have anticipation for it being a 5. So they usually are at least a 4, honestly. But yeah, I'm very excited to get to this one. And not much else I could say. It's Darcy Coates. So there you have From Below by Darcy Coates. Alright, so I was technically going to put a different book by him in this 5-star prediction because I just read Wanderers. So I guess I'll say the book. The Book of Accidents by Chuck Wendig. I originally was going to put Wayward, but I don't really know how I feel about doing like a sequel book like that because it's like if Stephen King wrote a sequel to The Stand. It's like what would you really do? I don't know. So I'm going with The Book of Accidents. This book is a book that a lot of people really, really like. They really enjoy it. It's his take on a haunted house book. Well, let me read a little blurb. A new masterpiece of literary horror by the New York Times bestselling author of Wanderers about a family returning to their hometown and to the dark past that haunts them still. I mean, I just read Wanderers. I gave that 5 stars. I really think this book could be a 5-star read. It is, again, a little bit bigger. Not massive like Wanderers or Wayward is. But it is a bigger book. I really hope that this book will work and it's going to be a good one. Just because I really like that haunted house kind of feel with most of the books. Darcy Coates really only writes haunted house stuff, so I'm used to it. I'm very excited to get to this book. I do think it is going to be a solid story, and I really hope so. That's why it's on this list, because of that. So there you have The Book of Accidents by Chuck Wendig. Alright, insert any Stephen King book here. I'm kidding. So, the book I'm going with, I had a couple different options I could have gone with. The one I actually really wanted to put in here is The Talisman, but I just get so many mixed reviews with that book. I don't know how I'm going to feel about it. The problem I feel like I have, though, is I like a lot of books that people don't like. Dreamcatcher, The Tommyknockers, Christine, nobody really talks about that much. So honestly, it wouldn't surprise me if I like The Talisman, or in that matter, even Sleeping Beauties, honestly. But then there are some times I agree with you guys. Cell was a dog crap book. It was terrible. But the book I ended up picking is Revival. So this is, as far as I know, King's take on Frankenstein. By what I read with the little stuff in here, it seems like this priest has got some, like, I don't want to know a whole lot going into it, but by what everyone says, it's his take on Frankenstein. It's like 5 decades long of a story or something like that. Like it takes 5 decades, and like the outcome is like, according to this, they say it's what do they say? It's his best. Like, yeah. This rich and disturbing novel spans 5 decades on its way to the most terrifying conclusion Stephen King has ever written. And they're claiming that, I've read Pet Sematary, and that was terrifying. So I am intrigued to get to this. A lot of people do have this in their top 10. A lot of people do give this 5 stars. I don't really hear a lot of negative things about this. I'm excited to get to it, and I don't know. The other one I would actually say would be another comparison would be The Dark Half. That was another one I was contemplating as a 5-star, and that one I actually could just interchange. But I went with Revival just because I don't hear that many bad things about this book, like if any. So I'm going to go with this. There you have Revival. Alright, so those are my 5-star predictions for 2023. I almost said 2022 again. Again, those are just 6 of them. Obviously, I'm going to have some others in my head, and they're the new releases that I did not put on the list. I'm excited to get to these. I really think all of them have potential to be a 5-star, otherwise they wouldn't be on this video, duh. Let me know any 5-star predictions you have for 2023. Let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to check out the other stuff we have down there. Again, the podcast, Danielle's channel, Bookstagram, all that fun stuff. Again, Bailey's a dog. And yeah, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Later.